Welcome to How to Become a Data Analyst Sage with ThoughtSwap. In this episode, we're going to have a look at the column set and query set objects so that we can understand when to use these. We have two types of sets, a column set and a query set. The column set is designed to provide the analyst with the ability to group values of a column into a new categorical column. I.e., if we have a list of products or SKUs, we could create product categories. If we have a list of states, we may want to create sales regions, such as north, south, east, or west. Or if we have a numerical column, such as quantity, we may wish to define bin sizes. Query sets provide advanced functionality for the analyst, where this set or list of objects may be based upon multiple columns. This set may be based upon an aggregation, such as a sum of sales at the customer level. Or we may also want to include an additional filter, such as the set may be limited to sales from last year. Query sets also provide the ability to leverage advanced formulas such as rank, level of detail, and moving average in the definition of the conditions. Finally, query sets provide the analyst with the ability to control how filters will be applied. By default, all outer query filters are ignored in the set's SQL statement, but as an analyst, I could define to accept certain columns that filters should be applied to, or accept all filters. The set object has been designed for reuse across the application. So in answers, this provides the ability to leverage filtering and grouping, chart interaction such as drill down and show underlying data, and importantly, a set can be added as a lightboard filter. The key component of the set object is the user interface, where the goal was to provide a UI where the analyst can define complex rules in a very simple manner. Examples of these conditions could be for string comparison, such as contains, starts with, ends with; numerical comparison, such as greater than, less than, or between. An analyst has the ability to select individual products with equal to. And for numerical columns, when we're creating bins, we can define the bin size, the minimum value, and the maximum value. So let's review the user interface for column sets. So I'm in ThoughtSpot and I've selected to add a new column set. The column set modal window is open, which allows us to select a column that we want to create the subsequent grouping values from. In this scenario, I want to select the product column. And we have the ability to create conditions or bins. So as this is a string column, we can define conditions. So as a user, I could select individual values and then provide a group. But in this scenario, I want to create a group based on a smart rule. And we want to group all the values which contains BIC as the BIC group. I could then add subsequent groups. I could select individual values, or we could create a second one with begins with Dunda. So this is Dunda. An important component of these smart rules is the ability to combine different conditions. So we can see here with the add condition, we can create a second rule. So it begins with or even contains Mifflin. In this example, we can see that the match is all, so both these conditions must be true, or we can make it any, and then either of these conditions can be true. So I can remove a condition, and I can also remove an entire group. The final property is the rule for all of the values that have not been defined as part of these conditions. So should we return individual line items? So in this scenario, if we were to return individual line items, these would be the product names. Alternatively, we could provide a grouping category. So these are ungrouped values. The final properties is to set the set name and description, and then we can create this column set. The second example of a column set is binning, which is based on numerical columns. So we have a quantity field. We can see that the bins has been the default setting, and now we might want to create bin sizes of 10 units with a minimum value of 10 and a maximum of 100. And we can see here the preview. So these are the bins that will be created in ThoughtSpot, 0 to 10, 10 to 20, etc. And again, set name and descriptions will be created. Now let's review the query set user interface. I select query set. We are prompted to first build our query. So first is a set is a list of what? In this regard, let's return a list of customers. So this query set is going to be based upon the amount of sales that each customer has made. So we can just enter amount and go. So now we have a query that is aggregating all the sales amounts for each customer. And then we define the properties. So again, the base column is the listing column. So it's a list of what, and it's a list of customers. And with query sets, we can either return a column. In this example, again, we want to use conditions. So a column could be used if we have a formula that returns a value, but we can use conditions. And what we can see here is that these conditions don't have to be based upon the same column as our base column. So we actually want the conditions to be based on the total amount. And in this regard, if the total amount is greater than 300,000, we're going to assign the value of gold to this group. And let's assign a second, which is silver, which is total amount of greater than 150,000. And in this scenario here, all of the customers that are less than 150,000, we're going to group them together as bronze. The final setting here is applicable if our base query also included a filter. So if we take a step back to our base query, in this regard, we haven't filtered any values. However, let's assume we have a filter of this year. Because of this filter, there will be customers that potentially have had sales previous to this year that have been excluded from our sets query. In this example, gold of 300,000 is based on sales for this year, silver 150,000, and bronze. So again, these are all the customer codes that have had sales for this year. So we want to define a label for all those customers that have not had a sale for this year. And I'm just going to provide a label, no sales for this year. So we have a gold group, a silver group, a bronze group, and we have a group of all those customers that have not had sales for this year, at which point we can save this set. Thank you. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section below.